Ever since the pandemic, a lot of crazy things have been happening. Flying saucers, Sasquatch attacks, the metaverse. However, maybe the craziest thing to happen is the increase in goblin sightings. We've definitely seen a surge of sightings over the years, but since the pandemic, things have just gotten way out of control. My goal is to catch a live goblin, but I'm not that knowledgeable. I can't do it on my own. This is why I've reached out to some of the greatest goblin experts in the world.
I'm unknown. I've been infiltrating the goblin and gnome ranks for the past number of years.
I mean, this guy just knows absolutely everything about goblins, lizard people, the gnomes, and even more.
This little green, weird, gnarly head popped out of the ground, and I tell you, I shot it dead.
My first concern was to figure out what I would do if I actually was able to catch a goblin. I mean, maybe they're edible.
Edible? Sure. Would you want to eat a goblin? No, it's the different question. The meat is very tough.
And I also learned a lot about their capabilities.
We know they're from Mars. It's very distinct in both their physical appearances and personal accounts of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Before we go on with the video, I think I need to explain the basic history of goblins. But what is a goblin? Most of you probably know goblins to be the little green guys who steal gold and eat Lucky Charms. However, the history of goblins is way deeper than you may expect. Goblins are actually not from Earth. They're actually from Mars, millions of years ago. Here they had a peaceful nation named Virginia 2. No correlation to Virginia 1. The goblin colonies lived here in peace for millions of centuries, eating moon rocks and Twizzlers. However, a few thousand years ago, an army of gnomes attacked Virginia 2. And unfortunately, they drank some Red Bull, they had a lot of energy. It did not go well for the goblins. Luckily, some of the surviving goblins were able to use their iPhone X and make a call to Earth. The call reached Dwayne Johnson, who's actually a level 100 player on the Fortnite Battle Pass. He hopped in his whip and picked up the remaining goblins from Mars, taking them back to America. But he did not know that they were actually evil anyways, so the goblins killed Dwayne and took his Fortnite account and all his V-Bucks. That's why there's so many goblins in America today.
In Joe Biden's presidency, we are seeing goblins more. Maybe he likes them a little bit, who knows?
At this point, I was ready to get going and set up my trap. Here's the goblin trap. You just put the lid up, then the goblin walks into the trap and pushes down the back, and it can't escape because this piece of wood is here. I mean, maybe it can, I don't know.
So I do believe that there's a good chance Elon Musk is working with the goblins to find a way back to Mars and take it from the known people once more.
So when I came later that night to check on the trap, the Pizza Hut was actually completely eaten. However, my trap didn't work, and I think the reason is because the pizza slice is so long that the goblin could actually grab it from the front of the trap, and for the trap to trigger, it has to put its weight all in the back. So my solution was to just try some more simple, smaller bait, which is a Ritz cracker with some peanut butter and sriracha sauce. However, after a few days, I still wasn't catching anything. It became a little obvious that potentially goblins weren't actually living in my specific neighborhood.
As we continue to see extraterrestrial and our native monsters interact, we will see more clashes between them, but I would not be surprised to find out smaller conflicts in goblin and witch areas.
Hearing about this potential witch and goblin conflict, I decided that maybe I should head to Salem and look for a goblin there. I didn't realize the witches are actually dead. We killed them all a long time ago, so it was a waste of time. My trap wasn't really working. I was at a loss at this point. However, X was able to give me some valuable information on what bait I might be able to use to get better results.
It would depend. Wendy's is probably a strong option.
If this didn't work, nothing would. But when I came back the next day, to my surprise, the burger was not gone, but the bun was.
My immediate assumption would be that it's not true American AAA rated beef. It's some Australian beef.
I mean, I decided to leave it out a little bit longer. But when I came back the next morning, the entire trap was completely flipped over. I knew that my trap was definitely not the issue here because it was designed by an expert. This made it clear that maybe the goblins are just a little bit stronger than I anticipated. A goblin was just not going to be caught. I decided to do some more research online about goblins to see what information I could dig up. I was able to navigate and find some boards which discussed goblin activity. One specific name kept popping up: Alex Yang. According to the rumors, this was a very dangerous man. He had 17 goblins locked up in his basement.
17 is quite the number. In order to keep them all alive, you would have to have at least a couple dozen kilograms of food every day. I don't want to doubt said claim, but that's quite the claim.
But do you think we should be worried about him gathering all these goblins? Do you think he has some ulterior motives that we may not be aware of?
I wouldn't want to talk about Alex like that. I would not want to get on his wrong side, and I would very much like to move on to the next question because I might be getting a bit scared right now.
But at the end of the day, this was all just rumors. I mean, if I actually wanted to learn about what Alex Yang was hiding, I would have to get in contact with him myself.
Okay, so my name is Alex Yang, and I'm a student from St. David Catholic Secondary School.
And
Yes.
when was the first time you captured a goblin?
It was probably like 15 years old. I remember I had a cabin in Kitchener,
Wait, so the rumors are true that you've captured 17 goblins?
Yes, I think so. I use them for experiments, just like watching them, and be friends with them.
So do you think we should put goblins on an endangered species list to try and protect them more?
Yes, I think we should.
If your plan succeeds, do you believe that the goblins will be able to get back to Mars?
I would believe it. Yeah, I think there's a great chance in that.
How do you think rising gas prices will affect goblin transportation?
They basically walk with their own feet. They don't need to take any rides.
Okay, so in your opinion, what's better? Twizzlers or red vines?
I think Twizzlers.
I agree. Can you do this in real life?
I don't know, just like that?
This guy meant no harm to goblins or society at all. I mean, he was just researching goblins, trying to help them get back to Mars. When you really think about it, I mean, the goblins aren't our enemy at all. They're the victims. Their home was stolen from them. Just because they look scary doesn't mean we should be scared of them. The point is that Alex Yang taught me 2 valuable lessons. Number 1, don't believe everything you read on 4chan, and most importantly, we should show love and compassion for all living beings and not pass any judgment until we meet them for ourselves. Wait a minute. I just heard something. Is my trap going off? Oh my god. Blood? Wait a minute. Is this a note? Holy